Hello and welcome to Stat 3050 at the University of Wyoming. We are online and man, we are having a good time. I promise. I promise. Online learning kind of sucks, but I'm going to try to make it as enjoyable and as entertaining as I can. So we're just going to get straight into it. So in the first couple of lectures here, I'm going to be sort of showing you the difference between this class, Stat 3050, and the prereq for this class, which is Stat 2050. There are some big differences, mostly in that this is very much an applied stats class, whereas 2050 is a little bit more kind of by the books and sort of pen and paper sort of math, that is definitely not what we're doing here. And I'll show you that sort of as we go on through this presentation, and you will definitely pick up on that as we go through the semester. So let's just get straight into it. So what are we doing? What are we doing here? I know that that's kind of framed as an existential question, so don't think too deeply about it. But what are we doing in this class? Well, let's just get into it. Also, before I go on, this mouse I know looks comically large. I don't know how to fix it. It looks normal on my end, but hopefully you can just kind of see where I'm at. I'm going to use that as the excuse. So anyway, intro stats in this class, right? So you took intro stats before taking this class, which is required. It's a prereq. If you took it with me over the summer, you're going to find that it leads, I think, pretty well into this class. But if you didn't take it with me over the summer, that's totally fine. I think everyone in our department is kind of on the same page. But there are some things that do carry over and there's some things that don't. So that's what I'm going to be showing you here. So the comparison, what are we doing? Well, let me just tell you right now that I think that old Stat 3050 is way more fun than Stat 2050 for a few reasons. One, like I said, it's very much applied, which means that you'll find that in this class, you'll never really be totally wrong. That's not always true. There are some things that are kind of black and white like that, but this class is very process oriented. And you might find that there is a solution to a problem that is different than maybe your homework partners or in other groups or even mine, which is totally fine. And anyway, also, I'm the instructor for this class, and I don't mean to brag or anything, but I like doing this. I like having a fun time with this. So hopefully I can kind of give that to you too. So intro stats, you will probably find that intro stats, whether it be if you took it here with me or with a different instructor or at another university, wherever, it was very linear in that you have a problem, you go through the three steps of crying, swearing, and some sort of crisis, and then you get a solution, right? Might be really easy, might be really hard, but that was always kind of it. There was always a right answer. Well, with this class, it's a little different. We have a problem. I'll still give you the same problem. Everyone has the same problem, but there's so many different ways to get to so many different solutions. Okay, which I think is really beautiful. Honestly, I'm not going to cry or anything, but this is really what statistics is. And I'm going to try to show you that over the semester. So, in this case, we got a little bit of style, a little bit of skill, a little bit of creativity to get to some different solutions. And sometimes they might be the same, sometimes they might be different, and that's totally fine. Crying may still be involved, but of course, tears of joy. So we'll move on to a little car analogy. Now, my name is Carson, I know. But I swear this is about as far as my car knowledge goes. So this is where we're trying to get, right? This is David Hasselhoff, and this is Kit from Knight Rider, 1982 series. Pretty good. This is what we're trying to get to, right? We're trying to get to this. With intro stats, this is what you got. This is like a 90s Toyota Camry. Pretty reliable, pretty good, but nothing as fancy as old Keaty here in Kit here. So intro stats gave you a lot of by hand tools. They work, they get the job done, but sometimes it takes a really long time. And also, we got some old guy here doing all the work too. but that's what intro stats is. It's very kind of basic, even though it seems complicated. With this class, we're able to do a little bit more tougher work, but making it a lot more easier because, well, we've got better tools now. We've got the Jiffy Lube here. So what does that tool look like, or what do those tools look like? Well, usually it's in the form of something like this, okay? In this class, we're going to be using a programming language called R. It's specifically for statistics. It works really, really well. There's a few really nice things about it, and there's a few finicky things about it too, which we'll find throughout the semester, and that's okay. But the great thing about it is that it's inexpensive, and by inexpensive here, I mean totally free. And it's also super powerful too, in that you can do a bunch of really crazy computational stuff, and it takes like no time at all, which is great. However, the only downside with this is that there's nothing here. This is a nice kind of Venn diagram here. There's nothing that really satisfies all three of these things. Python may be in there, but it's still learning a language. It's like learning a language, as is R. But there's nothing in here that really satisfies this sort of middle bit here. We use R for a few reasons. One I just mentioned, but also the department and, well, the statistics department and also a few other departments. This is kind of like the convention to use R. It's, it's not the easiest thing to learn, but it is pretty universal in that a lot of people use it. And by the end of this class, I promise you, you'll be able to put the fact that you know how to program, how to code in R on your resume. And that will set you above that'll set you above a lot of other people, which is great. Even if you're not going into statistics, knowing at least a programming language is great. I think it's a very valuable skill. Downloading R, it's pretty simple. I've got the steps here. I'm going to let you read that on your own. I probably will have shown you how to do this too, but you can honestly go onto YouTube and look up how to do it. It is not super, super difficult. I will say that R works just slightly better on PCs, on Windows, than it does on a Mac, but only for a couple of things. And I can only think of maybe one thing right now for this class. However, if you get into other classes, and just off the top of my head, spatial statistics and time series, for some reason, the packages that are involved with R and Max, they don't communicate that well for some reason, but that's not too big of a deal, at least for this class. So follow these steps and you're all good. You will notice though, this is like the language. This is the base language. We're going to be using what's called RStudio. It makes R so much easier to use, which is great. You don't have to do this, but I'm going to be showing you, at least in all the lectures, through RStudio. So it's best that you get this as well. Also, this is also free, so no biggie. But you do have to download R first before downloading this. So I think, let's see, what's next? Brass tacks. I'm going to end the video now. I'll let you download R, and then we will get into sort of the how this class will be structured. So I will catch you then.